Look, I love the PS1. It's gotta be my all-time favorite console. The sheer amount of weird, obscure, and experimental games has always fascinated me. Even today, I still stumble on PS1 titles that I've never even heard of. But here is the thing. Growing up, I mostly played the classics. Platformers like Crash Bandicoot, RPGs like Final Fantasy VII, or unique gems like Metal Gear Solid. For some reason though, I never touched the first-person shooters. Maybe I was just scared of the clunky controls, or maybe I was just too busy with other genres. But that kept bugging me. What if I've been missing out? So, a few months ago, I started a journey. I decided to try every single first-person shooter on the console, no matter if they are good, bad, or just simply weird. This is the 4th episode of my journey, and let me tell you, we've already found some incredible games, like Disruptor, Power Slave, Crazy Ivan, and I could go on. So if you haven't seen those yet, I would recommend starting with the earlier videos. But today, I've got 3 more shooters lined up. Alright, let's start with a banger. 007, The World Is Not Enough. You are probably going to think I'm weird for this, but I never actually played this game back in the day. I only played the first 007 game on the PS1, Tomorrow Never Dies. Oh, and of course, GoldenEye on the N64. And every time I brought that up, people would say, "Oh, TND sucks. You should play The World Is Not Enough." And I was like, yeah man, sure, maybe I will at some point. Well, you guys were right. It took me more than 20 years, but I can finally admit it. This game is just objectively better. Don't get me wrong, I still love TND, but The World Is Not Enough? It's on another level. Oh, come on, I need to find a short name for it. TWINE? Twine? Okay, let's go with that. And the timing was perfect, because I recently started watching the older Bond movies for the first time. So playing this alongside those films just felt amazing. The game was developed by Black Ops Entertainment, the same team that made TND. They also gave us some pretty great PS1 titles, like Black Dawn and Treasures of the Deep. Man, I need to cover those at some point. Unfortunately, the studio went downhill later on and gave us masterpieces like Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, and America's 10 Most Wanted. Yeah, they are absolute garbage, let's just say it.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Actually, they might be perfect for my Jenks series. What do you think? Anyway, back to Twine. This game kicks off with an insanely sick intro. It has some movie footage, gameplay shots, and of course, tons of explosions. Because, you know, it's the 90s, and this is 007. I have to admit, that got me hyped. The game has 11 missions, and each comes with a short briefing and a list of objectives, like steal a briefcase, protect a VIP, interrogate a suspect, you know, spy business as usual. My favorite is on the casino level, where one of the objectives is win money. Yeah, if it was that easy, I would still have my house. And since it's Bond, we also get gadgets, fingerprint scanner for doors, a credit card lockpick, grappling hook watch, and even a flashlight flashbang. Yeah, these are genuinely awesome. And come on dude, they are the main reason we play 007 games, right? Now every mission starts with a quick movie cutscene. Yeah, putting actual film clips into games was a very 90s thing. And you know, they are fine. They don't add a lot to the experience, but hey, it's James Bond, so I will take it. So I started my first mission and just ran forward like an idiot. Right, so that's not gonna work. This is when I realized that even though Twine is a first-person shooter, it's also a stealth game. We need to pay attention to security cameras, take out guards quietly, and basically avoid gunfights if possible. This is amazing. In the late 90s, most shooters were still all about running and gunning, so it's refreshing to see this one lean more into stealth. And it really nails that James Bond vibe. I'm not gonna lie, I actually felt like like a spy, using gadgets, sneaking around and thinking carefully instead of just blasting everything. Of course, sometimes the game does make you blast everything, and when it does, it goes all in. Some epic combat, big firefights, and the soundtrack is just going nuts. The missions have a pretty nice variety too. We get to visit the sunny London with the O2 in the background, snowy mountains. And dude, even a submarine, how cool is that? And let me tell you, grappling onto a hot air balloon in East London just hits different. So yeah, I never once felt for a second that Twine was boring. It switches up the locations quite a lot, and even introduces some sick weapons that I wasn't expecting. Mech-10s, P90s, and even AKs. Nice job, comrade. And let me tell you something crazy. The N64 version had even more weapons. I just checked the list and some of them are different or just straight up missing from the PS1 version. For example, the cell phone stunner is a wristwatch on the N64. Maybe they got a Nokia sponsorship for the PS1 or something. So what's the catch with Twine? There must be something, right? Yeah. There is. The game is super short. As I said, it only has 11 missions, and most of them can be cleared in under 10 minutes. So I finished the entire campaign in less than 2 hours. I know they wanted to follow the movie, so probably couldn't put much more stuff in there, but still, I wanted more. And somehow they didn't even add a multiplayer. Like, why? This game would be perfect for split screen, but nope. Even with those flaws though, Twine completely surprised me. I love the mix of stealth and action, the level variety, the weapons, and the whole game just radiates that 007 energy that I needed. I honestly feel dumb for sticking with Tomorrow Never Dies all these years. This one is going to be a new favorite, that's for sure. I'm gonna give this game 8 cell phone stunners out of 10. Nice. Next, man, I basically grew up on Men in Black. My uncle bought the first movie on VHS, or maybe DVD, I can't remember, and since it was one of the only things around, I watched it over and over again. If you are not ancient, you probably don't even know what Men in Black is, right? Let me give you a short version. Wait, you're gonna need this too, right? Okay, so aliens invade, secret agents show up, aliens get blasted, civilians get their memories erased, and somehow it's all still funny. That's it. Anyway, I love the weird aliens, the jokes, and that mix of serious but still kind of lighthearted. It felt exciting without being too heavy, if that makes sense. But here is the thing, I never played the Men in Black games on PS1. Yeah, you heard me right. Games. There are 2 of them. The first one, from '97, is a Resident Evil style survival horror. And yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that. It's not terrible, but there are just better options in that genre. What I didn't know until recently is that there is also a Men in Black FPS called the series Crashdown. I have no idea why it's called series, because there is only one game. Maybe they were referencing the cartoon, which, let's be honest, basically no one remembers. The game came out in 2001, which is super late for the PS1, and I've probably been living under a rock because I had never even heard of it. Oh boy, I should have, because it's actually crazy good. Crashdown is from the golden age of Infogrames, when they were publishing bangers like Outcast or Alone in the Dark. And to be honest, I was expecting another junk movie game, but Crashdown surprised me. It has proper cutscenes, strong voice acting, and and even a decent story. Well, more like multiple smaller stories, actually. All about aliens, of course. And thankfully, we get the whole crew. Agent K, Agent J, Zed, and even Frank the Pug, my favorite. Depending on the mission, we play as K or J, and the cutscenes honestly feel spot on for the movies. A mix of K's dryness.
Sorry for the disturbance, ma'am. Okay, guys, I want a broad sweep, half-mile radius.
Jay being a smartass.
So we need to ask you a few questions.
Where'd the freaky dude go?
And Frank being a little edgy.
The Godfather?
He's the leader of the alien family, based here in Little Italy.
Yeah, it nails the tone perfectly. The first mission takes us to Coney Island, where some space rednecks have crashed a fun fair. We get a proper briefing before each mission, and I gotta say I love these. They help me so much locating the objectives, and these 3D models look awesome. Anyway, let's kick some alien ass. Gameplay-wise, we always start with the standard pistol, which is fine, but nothing special. Luckily, the arsenal is way better than I expected. We've got classics like the noisy cricket, the de-atomizer, and my personal favorite, the awful truth. That thing is ridiculously powerful, and it's not even in the movies, I think, which made it even better. Okay, back to the story. Honestly, Coney Island is a strong start. We have to fight our way through the entire fun fair, including a roller coaster or roller ghoster, the rocket ride, a mandatory sewer level, and we finally defeat the alien queen as well. Pro tip, she can only be killed with the noisy cricket, which took me a while to find. It's here. I'm just an idiot. I just simply loved the funfair vibes with the ghosts, mummies, huge eyes. Okay, that's gross. And let me tell you, the game gets even better after this mission. We investigate a junkyard, enter a prison ship, fight through the subway, escort an alien, yeah, you heard me right, protect the Godfather, who is also an alien, and a whole bunch of crazy stuff. But I'm not going to spoil everything. It really surprised me how much more complex this game is than it first looks. Sure, blasting everything that moves makes up like 80% of the gameplay, but there is more variety than that. We get escort missions, protecting targets, and other little tasks that keep things interesting. And since it came out in 2001, the controls are already pretty solid. We can look up and down with the right stick, turn with the left, and overall it feels surprisingly smooth. Honestly, that made me so happy, because clunky controls can ruin a PS1 FPS in seconds. So what else can I say? Not much, really. This game is just super fun. It looks good, the humor works, the aliens and weapons have nice variety, and altogether it was just a great time to play. Oh, and the soundtrack has some bangers too. I always have to find at least one bad thing though, so here it is. The sound effects are decent, but a couple times they glitched out on me and got stuck, which turned into some serious audio terror. But honestly, if you like Men in Black, or even if you don't, Crashdown belongs in the top 10 PS1 shooters. Yeah, it's that good. And it actually made me rewatch the movies, which is pretty cool. But the one from 2019 still sucks. I'm sorry. I'm going to give it 9 francs out of 10. Awesome. Next, last, but definitely not least, HeXen. Everyone knows HeXen, right? If not, here is the quick version. Raven Software, back before they became the Call of Duty support studio, were making some of the best fantasy shooters out there. After id Software's initial success, John Romero approached Raven. He handed over a modified game engine for them to make something out of it, which eventually became Shadowcaster in 1993. That kicked off a collaboration between Romero Arrow and Raven, and led to another masterpiece called Heretic. Imagine something like Doom with magic, RPG elements, and a dark fantasy twist. Heretic dropped in '94, and it was more than just another Doom clone. You could look up and down, fly, and even cast spells. These were wild stuff around that time. People absolutely loved it, so of course a sequel was coming. In 1995 we got HeXen. Now the PlayStation port didn't arrive until 2 years later, and when it was finally released, it came with a few limitations, like lower frame rates, choppier animations, less detailed environments, and so on. But the layouts and the core gameplay were still intact, which honestly isn't bad considering the hardware. I'm gonna be honest, it's hard for me to talk about HeXen objectively, because I grew up with it. To me, it's one of those once-in-a-lifetime shooters. The atmosphere with its dark fantasy, eerie vibes, and creepy music is just unmatched. I don't think I've ever played another FPS that nails this vibe like HeXen does. And what I like the most is that it's not just about blasting monsters anymore. HeXen leans heavily on puzzles, switches, and exploration in general.
Oh, and it has my favorite feature in video games.
On top of that, we can choose from 3 classes: the fighter, a close-range tank, the cleric, a balanced mix of melee and magic, and the mage, basically a glass cannon with spells. Having classes in an FPS from '95 is insane work if you ask me. The level design is brutal. Even in 2025, maps are like mazes, full of keys, switches, and of course secrets. It's really easy to get lost. Now this was actually the first time I tried the PS1 version, and even though I had a lot of fun, I've gotta be honest, it's not great. The frame rate tanks hard, especially on higher difficulties with more enemies, and the animations look rough compared to PC. It feels like they tried to keep as much as possible from the PC version, but honestly that might have been the wrong call. I feel like they probably would have been better off taking the same approach as Doom on the PS1. Change up the lighting and atmosphere, maybe rework some areas, and become its own unique version instead of a weaker copy. But don't get me wrong, I will always love HeXen, but I probably won't go back to the PS1 version anytime soon. If you want the best way to play today, that weirdly rhymed, check out the Night Dive remaster. They did both Heretic and HeXen, and it's truly amazing.
Greetings, mortal. Are you ready to die?
It's on Steam, usually for around $15, and honestly it's worth every cent. As for the PS1 version, I've gotta give it 6 clerics out of 10. I'm so sorry. And that's all I had for today. Let me know what you think about these games and what you would like to see in the next episode. Speaking of which, next time I'll be covering the 2 Medal of Honor games, because honestly I've been waiting to do those forever. And if you like this kind of content, please consider dropping a like or subscribing. I would really appreciate it. We also have memberships now if you would like to support the channel even more. Don't forget to join our Discord if you want to have a chat or play some games with us.
We also have an ongoing giveaway at the moment with some nice physical and digital games. I will leave a link in the description.
And as always, thanks for watching. Bye!